In 2018, Andy Reginald Dinh was on top of the world. He was the CEO of the most valuable team in esports, and business was booming. His players and teams were cleaning up. He was a king.
I've seen him go out of his way to take care of players and also set the industry standard for player treatment.
But in 5 short years, it all came tumbling down.
And North America, put your hands together for your final World's representative, Clutch Gaming!
Up to me, like for example, no one wants to pick up Dart. That's not my fault.
And it wasn't just the team. Accusations of toxicity tore Regi's reputation apart.
He made so many players cry. So many players. I don't want to name them actually, so I would just say that he made a lot of players cry.
TSM has changed a lot in the last 5 years. The team Regi built is in shambles, and it might not even exist anymore.
We have made the tough decision to start the process of transitioning to another Tier 1 region.
How did the man who took over esports fall this far?
I'm sick of somebody who's basically just a bully getting away with it because it's in everyone's best interest to not get in his way.
In 2018, League of Legends Esports implemented the so-called franchising model that eliminated relegation and saw teams in Europe and North America sign long-term deals with Riot Games. This change aimed to lean into the esports progression as one of the world's most popular multiplayer games, and the accompanying wave of investment that started to surge in the mid to late 2010s.
I don't necessarily think that franchising is the key, but if there was no franchising, then I would want to see a more stable and a better challenger scene. A huge issue is the revenue opportunities for the teams.
You may have heard that we got accepted into the NALCS franchise. It's going to impact our organization and change things in so many positive ways.
TSM was so popular that random chants could break out at any event for no reason, whether or not they were playing. They were an institution.
And you hear the cheers. The cheers, the people online, all the fans across the world.
Surely not a TSM giant.
Hopefully not.
The biggest reason TSM had become popular over the years was their domestic dominance. They were always a shoo-in to make LCS Grand Finals, and they added plenty of banners to the LCS studio rafters. This competitive excellence was a founding principle and clearly linked to founder and CEO Reginald's own drive to compete for international glory. Between 2013 and 2017, the org won at least 1 split per year in the LCS. They won both in 2017 for a total of 6 during that time.
6 championships and 10 splits. They have never missed a final. They have never missed Worlds. And they are once again your North American champion.
Regi had always been outspoken and unapologetic about his drive and his goals, and even after he relinquished his spot on the roster before the 2014 season, Regi remained a prominent part of the org for years. He was still the founder and CEO. He was still involved in the team's day-to-day, and even as the first generation of TSM names slipped into the past, Regi's was always front and center. He was also a prolific shitposter and trash talker, and sometimes an outspoken critic of Riot. The fact that TSM continued to earn LCS banners after he stopped playing seemed to reinforce the idea that Regi was TSM, and that TSM was what it was because of Regi's guidance. But it wasn't Regi who brought the org to its highest highs on the Rift. Instead, it was the player who eventually replaced him, Bjergsen.
I came over with the mentality that I'm nobody, and especially filling Reginald's shoes, I really need to prove myself, and I really need to work my ass off.
They played the same position, but were very different people outside of the game. Bjergsen was quieter at first, but his results spoke volumes.
Just being really young, I didn't have a strong sense of really who I was or what I was expecting around me.
I was really surprised how much hype I actually got. I mean, Bjergsen's just crushing everyone mid.
He single-handedly wins his lane almost every game.
He has the damage, he has the victory in the 1v1. First blood, Bjergsen.
The Danish mid laner was peerless in the LCS, and during the TSM Bjergsen years, fans got a lot of what they wanted, at least domestically. More than any other player after Regi, Bjergsen was tied to the TSM name. He became a part owner of the org in 2020, and he was a bright spot even when TSM later hit low points. Bjergsen recorded a remarkable final split as a player for TSM, earning first All-Pro team honors and 7 MVPs during the group stage as TSM rallied late in 2020. But Bjergsen's time as a critical TSM player came to an end after that year when he became the team's new coach.
It probably comes as a shock to a lot of you guys, and I especially don't want it to seem like this is a sudden reaction to our poor Worlds run. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and especially in this last year. I almost even committed to the change in between spring and summer, but I really wanted to have a good season before becoming a coach.
Bjergsen had been the backbone of this team since he took over from Reginald. He had seen the organization's highest highs and lowest lows. Between Regi's vision, the org's competitive performance, and Bjergsen's role as the face of the team, TSM had long been the most important org in the LCS. But that was about to change. TSM's domestic record and high profile with fans meant that the organization had no issues attracting investment, though it had never sought much from outside investors. And with the league franchising model looming, they were able to secure a funding round that included $25 million from Bessemer Venture Partners. That deal reached a total of $37 million, even including NBA superstar Stephen Curry as an investor. The reported cost of the franchise spot for existing teams was $10 million, but the rest of that money would help to secure TSM's future. In 2019, Regi told ESPN Esports that TSM's parent company Swift had purchased the Blitz Esports app and branding. Blitz was previously an esports news website, but the company laid off the content team and then shopped the in-game overlay app for a new owner. According to a Forbes report, by late 2020, the app accounted for fully half of the company's $45 million revenue. It seemed as if TSM had all the elements they needed to secure their LCS future, but cracks were already starting to form. After the league franchised in 2018, TSM had their worst ever season and failed to make Worlds both that year and the next. TSM's competitive success was suddenly not even guaranteed domestically. Even when the team managed one more LCS title in 2020, the buzz was killed almost instantly at Worlds, where they failed to win even a single group stage game.
It's never going to feel good to be a first seed in a group like this and come out 0-6.
Like you're mentioning, it was a very hard group.
As things clearly went awry for the league team, Regi stepped in, as he had in the past, to offer his opinion on what was happening in-game.
Mental resilience and really understanding from every single player perspective to know how you can help your teammates, and also to know what you can do to get back in the game is super important.
I know this doesn't mean anything to you guys, but I think that in terms of play, it was a huge step up compared to that Fox game and even what we showed in scrims.
We have new faces in the house recently. Andy, Reginald, comes over sometimes to, just be there, have presence. He has some good knowledge about the game, he has good points, and he has good ideas, and he's, a smart person about the game.
We're in the middle of playoffs in 2020, and Andy, Regi, our CEO, wants to just randomly come in and start being the coach in the middle of playoffs. So we're doing a review, and me and Soren are talking about and then all of a sudden I hear Andy pipe up. He's like, okay, can we go do this? And I'm like, oh my God. Because I'm upset that we lost this scrim, and I want to go over something else. And then Andy's like, can we go over here? And I'm like, oh my God. And then Andy goes, wait, what'd you just say? And then the room goes quiet, and Soren says he's the ultimate bailout. He's like, oh, me and Peter were just discussing something else, and you caught a mid-sentence. What was that, Andy?
No.
On top of that, even TSM roster changes, which now had a real sense of urgency, were not immune to controversy. When the team brought back former AD carry Doublelift in 2020, he was dating Lena Zhu, TSM's president and Regi's ex-girlfriend. Some people accused Doublelift of a potential conflict of interest given his tumultuous spring split with Team Liquid, and Regi was forced to weigh in on Reddit, saying that Lena had no decision-making authority over the LCS team.
I think what's permeating Reddit and Twitter and stuff is this is so inappropriate. His relationship with Lena, there was poaching. Oh my God, there's a conspiracy. Yeah, me and Lena are in a relationship. No, she didn't poach me. No, I didn't intentionally ruin my reputation. I didn't intentionally sabotage my team and my own performance. and literally not even make playoffs because I wanted out of the team. No, that didn't happen.
Just for the record, like Riot did do an investigation over, before the trade was approved actually. There was actually a chance that it wasn't going to be approved depending on what they find in the investigation.
But 2020 brought another PR challenge. Lena was overheard in May on Doublelift's stream talking about the apparently low interest in Dardoch, who had been benched when Spica arrived before summer.
Up to me, like for example, no one wants to pick up Dardoch. That's not my fault.
Though Lena apologized and said it wasn't intentional, it represented another potential minefield for Regi, and a frankly difficult situation for their former jungler, who later revealed to InVen Global he hadn't received a personal apology from Lena. It was apparently Regi who had apologized. Still, amid the competitive tumult for the league team and multiple controversies, TSM continued their expansion. They entered Valorant in May 2020 as that game seemed poised to carve out its own niche. They diversified too, adding Hikaru Nakamura, the American chess grandmaster, as chess also exploded in popularity during the pandemic.
One thing I've really wanted to do is whomever I represent, try to bring home titles, bring home trophies, and I feel that my best opportunities to do that will be at TSM.
Making changes and spending money had brought the league team back to relevance in 2020, so TSM doubled down on it the next year. They spent a record $6 million over 2 years to recruit SwordArt, a support player who had started in the LMS but crossed to China's LPL and helped his team Suning reach the grand finals at Worlds 2020. It was an eye-popping sum for an imported support player who would end up playing alongside AD carry Lost, an untested rookie. But that hadn't always been the plan, as Doublelift revealed later that year.
They told me that SwordArt was confirmed, and I got really excited. And then I guess the negotiations were going really bad at a certain point. So then they told me, actually, it fell through. It's not going to work. I did not want to play with someone who I couldn't talk to. It's just miserable, guys. That's it. And so when they came to me and asked me about if I would be committed with Palette, I told them no.
Ultimately, these bets did not pay off. The league team was a huge question mark again, and 2020 looked more like a fluke than the beginning of a comeback. Off the Rift, TSM continued making record-breaking moves. An unbelievable $210 million naming rights deal saw TSM become TSM FTX for 5 years. In the press release, Regi gushed about the crypto exchange's CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried. The love was seemingly mutual.
They're the biggest name in Western esports. They have been for a while. They've been, the best in a broad number of different games. And I think one thing that I came to appreciate as I talked more with them is that they're just really genuine. And, they weren't someone who just paid a lot of money to become the biggest and best team. It's fine. No, nothing against that. But, yeah. They've built a really, really great company.
It seemed like TSM's reputation still carried a lot of weight with potential investors, probably because fans were still very much engaged with the org even during this rocky period. And outside league, some bets were finally starting to pay off. In Apex Legends, the org had managed to find and retain an incredibly talented roster centered around the unapologetically vocal Imperial Howl. The TSM Rainbow Six Siege team won the Six Invitational in 2022, though TSM decided to withdraw from Siege in early 2023. Leffen was also still bringing the organization big wins in top-level Melee and other fighting games. He brought home EVO titles in Melee in 2018 and Guilty Gear Strive in 2023. Tweak continued to represent the org in high-level Ultimate 2. TSM was still a household name. Fans still seemed excited about the future, and TSM chants were still ever present. By securing these top rosters in other esports, the org's future was no longer just in the hands of Riot Games. But unbeknownst to Regi, Riot Games were about to reshape the team's legacy, and allegations about his own past behavior would be the catalyst.
Alright, just about done with this edit. Now, time for a quick break.
Hey, have you started cutting the Cash App ad for the Story of Tens yet?
Not yet. I downloaded Cash App because I read the script earlier, and it turns out it is pretty cool.
Of course it's cool, Seb. They're literally paying us to say that.
Yeah, but did you know that if you direct deposit at least $300 a month in paychecks, you unlock high-yield savings? It's almost like my money's worth more.
Yes, I know. I'm the one who wrote the ad, the one you're supposed to be editing. What are you doing right now?
Huh? Oh, well, with up to 4.5% interest on my savings, I'm actually using some of that extra money towards upgrading my gaming rig.
Dude, your deadline is today. Stop buying things and edit the ad.
Wait, I thought this was due next week. There's no way I can finish this in time.
Honestly, Seb, that's a you problem.
Wait.
Sounds like you won't be needing these.
You've got to be kidding me. What else could go wrong today? Oh no. In late 2021, things again boiled over with Doublelift, now a streamer for TSM. He explained in an explosive admission on stream that he hated TSM because of Regi, and that he had tried to return to the roster after Sword Art had been publicly confirmed.
Honestly, I hate TSM mostly because of Andy. I called Andy and told him, yeah, Sword Art still wants to play with me. And I would love to, continue to play for the org, and Andy literally said no because he's got too much of an ego. Every split I'm on TSM we win, and still get treated like that. It's just disgusting. It would be a personal pleasure of mine to see TSM never win anything again.
Regi didn't take this lying down, and instead offered an entire post on the team's subreddit with his own opinion, namely that he wasn't the only person making the decision, that Doublelift's attitude and disposition presented challenges for any team, and that while he didn't hold any ill will towards him, the two parties would part ways. But it didn't stop there. Lena explained on the TSM Discord that she felt both sides were being irrational, and that she tried to calm the situation down. Doublelift continued the issue the next day, claiming his problem was actually more with Regi, and accusing him of essentially bullying his staff.
I'm sick of somebody who's basically just a bully getting away with it because it's in everyone's best interest to not get in his way. Just go out and ask people, guys. Go out and ask like Sven and Mithy how it was to work with this guy. When I say that I hate TSM, I shouldn't have said that. It's hard for me to support the org because at the top is a f***ing bully. He's just an egomaniac bully. He made so many players cry. I don't want to name them actually because I feel like it's not my story to tell. So I would just say that he made a lot of players cry. You would be very f***ing surprised. Legit mental breakdown because of how badly they were getting berated, how badly they were just getting verbally assaulted.
In one day, the issue had gone from an argument to an accusation. Lena left TSM later that month. Meanwhile, the league community pulled up old videos that featured exchanges between Regi and former players like Dyrus, Xpecial, and Wild Turtle. Exchanges that seem to have taken on some new relevance in an uncertain moment for Team SoloMid.
Are you arguing just to argue with me?
No. It feels like you're just trying to put it all on Turtle.
No, I'm not putting it all on Turtle.
No, you are putting it all on Turtle.
Okay, yeah. He really fucked up.
No, yeah, you are. Yeah,
okay, he really fucked up.
Okay, yeah, I know that. But
so
just say
why are you arguing with me about it? It's so true though.
At this point, Regi really seemed to take a step back, making fewer public appearances and statements generally. Because TSM had been Regi's creation though, the shift was noticeable. The beginning of 2022 brought shocking news. A Wired report by Cecilia D'Anastasio revealed the existence of both investigations and quoted unnamed sources who said TSM was dominated by a culture of fear. Central to these accusations were Regi's alleged verbal exchanges with employees. Regi responded that he knew his tone was sometimes too harsh and that he would cooperate with the investigations and work to implement any recommendations. He'd also spend far less time in the spotlight from this moment on. Meanwhile, the league team tried something new. They imported two Chinese players, Xinyi and Kaiduo, to join Huni and Spica, while they signed Tactical as AD carry. But according to Spica's retelling, they immediately hit a rough patch when, during week 2, Xinyi locked in Rel and was unapologetic about the controversial choice.
TSM might be doing that. TSM is doing this. Is Lulu roaming top. So they are actually trying to pull a little bit of a fast one. It is Rel coming through here for Xinyi. It is going to be Smite top, almost guaranteed.
I think we were back at the office and we're like, okay, next time if you lock in your champions, can you talk with the team so we can we can make a decision together, and then if you really feel strong about whatever champion, just say it, we're fine with that, right? He disagrees and he was like, no, I'm on the support. I'm going to lock in whatever I want, whatever I think is the best. And then I'm turning the back and I hear loud noises, and I was like, oh, yo, we made shit up, we're having fun, we're joking around type. apparently they were fist fighting, like almost fist fighting. Shenyi just called Chowie, like, he just told him, yo, I got no respect for you, you're a coach, like, you know, blah, 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 blah. And they were really close, you know, like the staffs in the room had to like pull them apart.
Though the conflict wasn't public at the time, Shenyi was benched after the game. But the changes to the roster didn't make a difference in their competitive hopes as they limped to the org's worst ever seasonal record, 5-13 in spring. Not a single TSM player made it to any of the all-pro rosters in either season. In May, the Washington Post published an in-depth report that cited unnamed sources within the TSM organization that painted the picture of a culture of fear. It also quoted Anthony Barnes, who worked on the Blitz side of the business. It seemed the alleged conduct wasn't limited to the esports team. Barnes called TSM one of the worst companies he'd ever worked for. Around the same time, Doublelift confirmed that TSM was attempting to sue him for disparagement.
Andy can ruin anyone's life that he wants, right? Because he's so rich. It's like, if I spend $2 million on legal fees and he spends $2 million on legal fees, my life is over and his life is the exact same.
Then, in July, Riot announced a $75,000 fine against Regi after concluding their investigation. The TSM founder and CEO would also serve a 2-year probation period. TSM's own investigation simply concluded that Regi had done nothing illegal. It was a shockingly bad year for TSM and Regi, but the end of the year offered no refuge for the faithful, as FTX went bust and Bankman-Fried was indicted and eventually convicted on fraud charges. Both TSM and Riot Games terminated their deals, which were frankly already dead. The team's Twitter statement said that they would be fine even without the money. TSM also seemed uninterested in some of the previous expansion to which they had committed. Both Hikaru Nakamura and Cutie Cinderella announced they were no longer part of TSM late in 2022. But TSM wasn't fine. In fact, in League, TSM was already gone. Given everything else happening in the org and leaked messages that seemed to show a budget approach to the LCS roster moving forward, fans weren't sure what to expect from TSM's League team. Regi had hinted at updates on the team back in November, but delayed the news to May, amidst downvotes from the community. When the announcement finally came, it wasn't just a somber moment. It was the end of an era.
I know the community has been waiting for an update, and we want to be transparent with you guys. We have made the tough decision to start the process of transitioning to another Tier 1 region. This may feel sudden, but to be honest, we've been actively working towards this for the last 3 years. I believe moving to another region will reignite our hunger to doing whatever it takes to win a world championship.
Some fans saw this as a chance for a new beginning and started to speculate which region might fit TSM best. But over the next year, as the LCS team missed playoffs both splits, that hope faded to disillusionment. One veteran returned at the very end of TSM's stint in the LCS. Wild Turtle put on the black jacket one last time when he was promoted from TSM Academy. He said the experience was different from those early years when he played with Regi.
I think it was just good times. Like we showed up every day to practice. Granted, we had some pretty bad practice weeks, but we always try to keep the mood a little light and try to have fun while we're there.
At the end of the season, the TSM LCS team had played its final game in the league. Fans then waited to hear what would be next, and they had to wait until 2024 to hear anything. In a January post, the official TSM account, not Regi, confirmed that there was still a plan, this time pointing to the end of the year. But a month later, more TSM issues became public. The team's longtime social media coordinator, TSM Dunk, tweeted that he had been laid off and that TSM had only 9 employees remaining. The fanbase didn't take it well, and the subreddit has become increasingly fatalistic in the salty margins between Imperial Hal and Leffen posts. The beating heart of Team SoloMid was always the league roster, and that's gone now. Given the current climate in esports, it's hard to see the org forking over the money required to get into the LCK or LPL. Franchising didn't really work out. The FTX deal was ultimately an illusion. And short of that 2020 season, there wasn't much to get excited about for the league team after 2017. TSM still exists as an org. It even recently expanded into Overwatch. Before that, they entered CS2, although it is not clear yet that this team is top 20, much less top 10 material. But increasingly it feels like they no longer exist as the org that Regi founded, the one that put all those banners in the LCS Studios rafters. Regi undoubtedly owns the path that the org has taken. No one can predict everything perfectly, but even Regi admitted that he was too harsh with his employees, and it's not hard to imagine futures where a different approach could have changed some things. How TSM's legacy is affected by those things is something its fans will decide, and whether it can build a new one is still up to Reginald. Hey guys, thanks so much to every one of you who has been tuning in to watch this brand new season of The Story Of presented by Cash App. It's because of partners like Cash App that we're able to bring you bigger and better content every year. And with their help, we've been able to make this season of Story Of better than ever. So if you got a second, do us a favor and fill out the quick survey down in the comments below. It takes a couple of minutes and helps us a ton to keep making content like The Story Of. See you next Saturday for the next episode.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.